Hello, everyone, and welcome to a little fall film festival talk. We just got the Venice Film Festival announced. The Toronto Film Festival announced a lot of their special presentations and galas, and there's ghost pages for other movies that we're pretty sure are going to be there. So we pretty much know the TIFF lineup. New York announced their opening film. You can guess a lot of the Telluride films based off of what's been announced as a world premiere and North American premiere, stuff like that. So we're going to be doing a little preview about all the movies that are going to be hitting the festivals and what we think about all that stuff. So let's start with the big news that came out today, the Venice Film Festival. Some of these movies, as we did when we talked about Cannes, we won't completely know. Starting off with the first one, April, by Dia Kulum Begashvili. I did my best. Excited to learn more about it, but I don't know much about it at this point. But number two, Baby Girl by Helena Rain. This is a film that you had more on your radar than I did, Anthony, when we did our acting predictions for Nicole Kidman. It's pretty much about like CEO having a not too professional relationship with a younger man played by Harris Dickinson, who works at the company. So what are your thoughts? It's going to be hitting Venice. I think that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, I think it is. Fair warning, to our viewers, I am surviving a cough, so I'm gonna be riding that mute button the best I can, so you are not accustomed to it. We're gonna find out if coughs are contagious through StreamYard. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for Baby Girl because I think, we just saw an incredible amount of support at the AFI event for, the life achievement of Nicole Kidman. And I think she's somebody who I think many people either they already think she has a second Oscar or that she definitely deserves one. And this, from what I've heard, very much feels like potentially it could be her Tar. It's a very serious, very ferocious. The subject material could be a little controversial, and I think it could be the sort because we're talking a lot about first time nominees in both supporting actress and best actress. People like Mikey Madison, the women of Amelia Perez, that I think we're going to need to have some veterans there, especially now that juror number two, your champion,
Gosh dang it.
like
Yeah.
Joe Biden, has left the race this year. So
Next year.
I think that Nicole Kidman fits that void, and I think people have doubted her before. They doubted her with being the Ricardos, and I think that she fits very much. I think within any sort of list of five that you're putting together, and so I think this is a good festival to debut it. And I think if they are very smart with the rollout, if they don't, I wouldn't go wide with this. I would build it, adding theaters. Do a month rollout. Then I think this could get into the conversation this season. So I'm definitely excited for Baby Girl.
It's A24, right? Baby Girl. I'm pretty sure it is. So
Believe so.
I
Yes, I
think
believe
they
so.
don't have, in terms of their campaign priorities, I don't think that they have anyone prioritized for the films they have for lead actress. So I think this could be their push in terms of where they spend their money for lead actress this year. Because, as you said, I mean, it's Nicole Kidman, as we've talked about many times before. She's a very established, acclaimed actress, and it seems like she should have two Oscars at this point. I don't know if she'd end up winning for this. We have to learn more about it. But yeah, seems like a good role. Same for Harris Dickinson. He's going to have a good year between this and the mystery movie Blitz. Won't be talking about it hitting any of these festivals because it's seemingly only going to be going to the London Film Festival. So interesting for that. So good year for him and Nicole Kidman. I'm looking forward to it. So that's Baby Girl. Some of these other ones, once again, Campo di Battaglia, Diva Futura, Harvest, I'm Still Here by Walter Sales. And I guess we can talk about the the yellow one here, the big elephant in the room. The first Joker, back in 2019, premiered at the Venice Film Festival, won the Golden Lion. Did very well. That kind of started its awards trajectory. And now the sequel is doing the same thing, Joker Folie à Deux by Todd Phillips, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. It's going to be hitting the festival again. We also just conveniently got a second trailer for the film with look, it was pretty similar to the first trailer, just more footage. So what you're much more of the Joker supporter, Joker fan than me. So what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, yeah, I think they're obviously following a similar playbook. I don't think they expect to win the Golden Lion again, but I think they want to make sure that this film is respected in the same degree as the first film. So it makes sense. I think this movie has simultaneously less to prove and more to prove because the musical genre, the risks that they're taking creatively, definitely like, okay, let's see what you got. But at the same time, they can ride the success of the first film. And I think that's why, they're going to Venice. There's going to be all eyes on it. And I think Warner Brothers is saying with this, as is Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, all involved, Scott Silver, the co screenwriter, that we are not making a cash grab sequel. We have an artistic vision for this. And I think Warner Brothers is very smart to put it back at Venice. As far as the trailer goes, I was already sold on this film before I saw a single image. I thought the first trailer was excellent, and I think the second trailer does more. I saw a funny tweet that I'm sorry I can't quote the person, but I do find it hilarious
Yeah.
that Joker 2 has leaned more into being a musical than Wicked at this point
Yeah.
in their trailer campaigns. But so I think the movie did that. This latest trailer did that for the film, and I also think I've been saying this since day one. I thought personally, to me, I deeply respect Roger Deakins, and I think he deserved his Oscar win for Blade Runner 2049, as he should have probably won before that. But I really do think Lauren Scher's cinematography on the first Joker was astounding, and I think maybe should have maybe given Deakins a run for his money for 1917. And I think that this cinematography in this trailer, as is in the last trailer, is really making me think that might be a very close, if not award-winning race for Joker 2, and pick up a category did not pick up for the first film. So that's kind of where I'm at now. The other thing we can talk about too is the conjecture that I think is getting more steam that Lady Gaga is seriously considering going into Best Supporting Actress and not Lead Actress, which I think is very smart for her.
It's interesting. She definitely has a better shot looking at the categories of definitely being nominated there and potentially winning. I think it probably depends on how much she wants to win an Oscar versus how much she wants to be like, because I mean, she is, based off the trailer, based off everything we know, a co-lead in this film, and how much she wants to be considered a co-lead. I don't know. Lady Gaga, I could see her maybe
Well,
just wanting to get the acting Oscar and going and supporting.
we've seen, what happened with Lily Gladstone, what happened with Michelle Williams. Why did those actors go to lead? It's because they wanted to be taken seriously as, not only the stars of their films, but as major forces within their pictures and without. They wanted to send a message to Hollywood that we are people to be taken seriously as lead actors. Lady Gaga is one of the most popular people on the planet. She does not need to make the case that she needs to be taken seriously. She already is an Oscar winner, and she got nominated for her first film. So I think she definitely does want to win. I think she wants to follow the Cher route of getting nominated for your first film, coming back with a later film, and then winning. And I think, I mean, listen, she still might go lead actress, and she could win. But I think Heath Ledger obviously won for this sort of role in supporting. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in winning for supporting actor, especially now because it really has become best lead actor and best co-lead. That really is how these two categories have
Yeah,
shaped up as of late. And
unfortunately.
I think it is, if she wants to win, I think it is a smart play. And I do think there's a world where she does win. Because when you add in the musical elements that have helped people like Emma Stone or Catherine Zeta-Jones win for La La Land and Chicago, respectively, and then you add in the fact that they seem to love this sort of role, whether it's Joaquin Phoenix or Heath Ledger, I think she poses a very strong threat, no matter what category she's in. But again, maybe supporting actress is a less competitive race. We have to see what happens with Amelia Perez, I think in particular. Where they put Zoe Saldana, the movie star, because they could put her in supporting, or they could put her in lead because they want to put the lesser known actors in supporting because they feel like that's less competitive for them. I think that is a big question mark when it comes to Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I mean, she could do either way. I think probably either way, we'll have to see, depending on how the film is received. She'll probably get nominated. As you said, it's a showy kind of performance. But she definitely has a better shot of getting nominated in supporting actress. Do you think, I'll ask this, the first film won, obviously, the Golden Lion. I think we would probably both agree. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think that would be pretty astonishing if it did. But there's other awards to give out. Do you think maybe she could end up winning? I mean, because there's no supporting awards. If she wins Best Actress at the Venice Awards, does that make her more inspired to go into lead actress, or do you think she would still continue supporting?
I mean, we've seen actors flip flop. I believe Catherine Zeta-Jones won the Golden Globe for Chicago in lead and then was put in supporting for the Oscars. So I think it would just embolden her to really campaign. I don't know if she would then make a decision. She's very smart when it comes to this stuff.
Yes.
I don't think you can blame House of Gucci and the pitfalls with that campaign on her. I think she was out there and she was getting a lot of support from a lot of the different guilds and groups. And I think during the A Star Is Born year, she was checking Gold Derby reportedly like all the time. And so she's very in tune. And I think she's going to make this assessment based on a multitude of factors, not just if she wins one award, which I doubt. But at the same time, Joker was able to win. So they don't stick up their nose to this. And they might, this is the other, it's just such a big question mark with this film and how good it actually is. If the film is that good, but they don't want to give it to Joker for the second time in 5 years, maybe they do want to award Lady Gaga. And that's their way of saying, we really love this film and this distinct nature of this film. And that's why we're going to award Lady Gaga, somebody who represents the uniqueness of the second film. So, I mean, you could definitely see the narrative. I probably am going to think that it's not going to happen, but it doesn't, I think, change her momentum in an Oscar race. She's a very popular actor. She's a very popular just persona. She's going to have her new album that I'm sure will boost everything about her at this time.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think she is not adverse to being political. And I think in this day and age, especially with the candidate that we now know is running, I imagine you'll maybe see her on the campaign trail or doing something. She's very outspoken. Seeing her concert, she brings up a lot of social issues that she's very passionate about. So I could see her in that realm as well. So you're going to have the movies, the music, and potentially the political sphere all consumed in some ways by Lady Gaga. So I think as far as getting people to pay attention to her, she doesn't need any help. She's also one of the biggest.
The movie's also going to be huge, yeah. So I think she will not struggle for lack of eyes. No. Do you think it'll win any awards at the Venice Film Festival? Maybe. We can maybe save that for when we get closer to the Venice Film Festival then round.
Let's scroll down, refresh, or introduce the whole list, and then I can.
Yes, yeah. We'll have a full assessment. So moving on from Joker, we've also got Kill the Jockey by Louis Ortega, Les Enfants Après Eux by Ludovic Bakurma and Zoran Bakurma. Oh, a couple. Love by Doug John Huggard. Maria, we can talk about this, by Pablo Larraín. I believe, I'm not sure if Jackie did. I think Spencer definitely went to the Venice Film Festival. He has been here before. It's, as we've mentioned, the third of his historical women trilogy, starring Angelina Jolie as Maria Callas. We've got a few more images of it today. I feel pretty good about this definitely being an actress contender. Also worth note, I imagine after this film festival, this and the next movie we'll talk about will have distribution, hopefully, because right now they don't. So I'd imagine, I wonder who would end up picking this up, because looking at other companies, most of them already have priorities in Best Actress. Like you think about Searchlight, and they've got Amy Adams. You think about Neon has Mikey Madison. Warner Brothers has Lady Gaga. Other people, of course, I forget who I'm missing. Saoirse Ronan, etc., etc. I'm curious.
Searchlight. Disney has a very good relationship with Angelina Jolie. Between Maleficent, she's one of the few to get a live action sequel made of her film with Maleficent of Evil. Also Eternals. She's recently been at the studio there. So I could see them doing that, especially because the first look at Night Bitch seemed to be a little bit. Some people were.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. Yeah.
So
yeah, the first look at Night Bitch was not good. It looked like a commercial. So I've lowered my expectations on that.
I could see them seeing how it plays here. Maybe this is where the Best Actress award is won, and then maybe wanting to shift. Because Angelina Jolie, another actor who I think is really beloved, and I think you could see a campaign mount for her to be a second-time winner after her first win for Girl Interrupted, which is a more controversial win than others. She could follow a Renee Zellweger path, I think, very easily.
And just sweep, for sure. So like a little bit of a comeback narrative.
Yeah.
Because she's also got a movie she is directing that is coming out this year that we'll talk about at the TIFF section. So yeah, it could definitely be a big year for her. I do wonder if Searchlight ends up picking it up and Night Bitch, based off the images, maybe isn't as good as we hoped. And A Real Pain, I've seen it. I don't think that's a picture contender. I wonder if this becomes their big best picture contender, because based off the past two movies, it'll definitely be high quality. And I think it probably has the best shot of those three movies to succeed, because Maria Callas has the least association with herself as a historical figure compared to Princess Diana and Jackie Robinson. So I don't know. I can maybe see that. Searchlight does make sense. I don't think it'll end up to a place like Netflix. I doubt that. I doubt it'll go anywhere streaming. I think it'll be theatrical. So probably I would guess either Searchlight or Sony Pictures Classics, maybe. But they've got which we'll talk about soon, The Room Next Door. But first, Queer by Luca Guadagnino, debuting at the Venice Film Festival, starring Daniel Craig, Drew Starkey, Jason Schwartzman, Leslie Manville, etc., etc. Seems like it's not quite 3 hours long. It seems, I forget what the exact number is, like it's closer to 2.5 hours, which is good. But I personally have had a little bit of a journey with this film recently. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't know if this is something that the Academy per se will go for. I think it'll be great because all of Luca's movies are great. But the more I think about it, it's a long film about an older man trying to pursue a younger man who is seemingly heterosexual and not very interested in him. And there's apparently, as Luca said, a good amount of sex scenes in it. I just don't know if that's the kind of thing that the Academy will go for. We'll have to see how it's perceived. But I personally am very excited for it. I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see how it's perceived at the festival. What are your thoughts on Queer by Luca Guadagnino?
Yeah, I'm starting to think the best chance it has is Daniel Craig for lead actor.
Mhm.
An actor who I think, like Colin Farrell recently in Banshees of Inisherin, is somebody who they have paid attention to. They have seen in the smallest of indies and the biggest of blockbusters. I mean, Daniel Craig is he's my favorite Bond. I loved the visceral nature of his character. At the same time, I think he held more emotional depth in both in Casino Royale, Skyfall, and in No Time to Die than I think we'd ever seen in that character. And then, of course, recently is Benoit Blanc. I think he is a movie star. And if he really shows a new side of him in this performance, I could see him standing apart from the film. Because I do think Luca Guadagnino's taste is not always up for the Academy.
It's really just been Call Me By Your Name. It's the only
Yeah.
movie he's had that had Oscar success.
Yeah. And I something tells me that if that movie didn't have overwhelming Oscar success, it did win for Best Adapted Screenplay. I think Timothée Chalamet probably would have stood alone, because that's how strong that performance is. And I think that's what Luca does really well. He really is in tune with his actors. And if let's say critics group start getting behind Daniel Craig in a big way, I could definitely see him travel. But that's not to say the movie can as well. I think we have to acknowledge that because we're still dealing with a little bit of a strike slump. And we may be in a desire for, as I was talking about with Baby Girl and Angelina Jolie, some name talent. And I think that definitely comes along with Queer. And he gets points for Challengers. Challengers was a hit. And I think people want to lean in to Luca. And there'll be more eyes on Queer because of Challengers. You might see double features show up in some independent theater.
That'd be fun.
I wouldn't put it past the studios maybe to put those things together to try and campaign for both films.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know who's behind Queer right now. It currently doesn't have a distributor, just like Maria, and I'm not sure who would pick it up. I don't think of any studio and think like, oh, that's a good fit for this. Because you would think a lot of his past films were at MGM.
At the festival. I mean, I could see maybe MGM picking it up. Relationships are key, and if they see value in it, even the smallest amount of value, they will improve it, because it improves challengers. It improves other facets of their relationship. Every studio is in the market for a profitable, successful, proven director. It's why we're seeing this summer with The Quiet Place Day One and Twisters. You make one good movie, boom. That's it. That's what you need. Spielberg had to do like a couple episodes of television. He did a TV movie. Then he did Sugarland Express. Like he worked hard. Nowadays, I mean, Ryan Coogler did it in 2. Liazik Chung did it in 2. It's crazy.
It is.
But so we'll see. I think this is definitely one of the biggest things that we're going to take a magnifying glass to when it debuts.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest mysteries, because unlike a few of these other films, we got a first look image at it. I don't know if other people, it's a It's unfortunately for us and using thumbnails, it's not like Daniel Craig or Drew Starkey in the image. It's I think Drew Starkey from a distance taking a photo. But I think no matter what, even if the film is a little maybe too much for the Academy and doesn't hit super strongly, because even Call Me by Your Name didn't. I think it kind of underperformed. I pretty much just got like what picture, actor, screenplay, and like song. I think that's it. Because lots of people thought maybe Armie Hammer or director. It didn't get either of those.
I think ultimately Armie Hammer split votes Michael Stuhlbarg.
Yeah,
and that was a very competitive race because of the double nominees for 3 Billboards in that category with Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell. And that was kind of the dawn of this little blip in our Oscar history where you were seeing double nominees show up. Before that, it wasn't as common. Since the expansion of Best Picture, which I really look to. I really look to modern Oscar history, 2009 on. And so you had that, and director, that was incredible. I mean, listen, we've talked about
that. Was one of the best lineups ever.
I personally look at 2017 as my favorite year in modern film history. It was definitely a formative year for me, discovering film. But I mean, you look at that list between Guillermo del Toro, who won, and then Jordan Peele, Greta Gerwig, Paul Thomas Anderson, and Christopher Nolan, all of whom had never won, and only Nolan had been nominated before. No, I don't think Nolan had been nominated. Only Paul Thomas and Anderson had been nominated before.
For director, I think,
4 of those were first-time nominees. So that was an incredibly tough director race to break into. So I don't hold it against him.
No. But we'll have to see. I think no matter what, no matter how big it is, based off how barren Best Actor is, I still think Daniel Craig will get nominated. I think people will want to see him get nominated. I think it'll be a showy performance. Right now, I think that's my expectations for it, and we'll have to see how it's reviewed based off after that. Some other films: Sicilian Letters, Stranger Eyes, The Brutalist by Brandy Corbett, starring, I believe, what's his name? Adrian Brody, Felicity Jones, a few other people. Apparently it's like 3 hours and I think like 15 minutes. So it's long. It's a longer one. I forget who the distributor is behind this. It's pretty much, I think it's set around World War II, and it's about a family. Like, we talked about this a few months ago when we did our early previews of all these movies, and that's the last time I remember looking at the plot synopsis. But I'm pretty sure it's about like some like construction or like architect or like artist guy selling art during that time. It's long. Good cast, Brandy Corbett, so we'll have to see.
I look forward to the very clever reviews when people say The Brutalist is brutal. But listen, this is Focus Features, Universal Pictures.
Nice.
Internationally. We'll see. I don't know if that cast inspires much confidence. Of course, Felicity Jones, Oscar nominee for Best Actress for Theory of Everything. And Adrian Brody, of course, winning for The Pianist.
Youngest ever.
I think in this climate, I don't know if they get the same level of excitement that you need to mount this sort of campaign. I feel like I'm mixing between the news we've been following. You're hearing a lot of news ways of talking about the Oscar campaigns.
Yes.
But listen, I am a fan of Corbett. If you have not seen Vox Lux, which starred Natalie Portman, the 2018 release, seek that out. It's a really, really fantastic film. I think probably, if not top 10, definitely top 15 of 2018. And so I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see the film, and the fact that it already has distribution definitely puts it above the pack when it comes to taking it seriously. Have a major question mark masquerading its chances.
Yes, we'll talk about in the next festival, I think, what Focus Features' main campaign is, but I could definitely see them pushing this for maybe a few things. It's apparently about 30 years in the life of a Hungarian-born Jewish architect who survived the Holocaust. He immigrated to the U.S. with his wife, which I'm pretty sure is played by Felicity Jones, and it's pretty much like the American dream journey. So we'll have to see. It's a long movie. That runtime, it doesn't. I mean, we'll have to see. Inspire a ton of confidence if the Academy will be able to sit through it, because it's not like it's Scorsese, it's Brandy Corbett, which I don't think will inspire the same patience, possibly. But we'll see. I look forward to learning more about it. So we've got The Order by Justin Kurzel. I believe this is with Jude Law, Nicholas Holtz, a few other people. We got The Quiet Son. We got The Room Next Door by Pedro Almodovar, his first English language film, starring Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore. This is Sony Pictures Classics picked this up. I think this is their biggest push this year. So I feel we'll do our Oscar predictions closer to when like pre-festival Oscar predictions before all this stuff goes down. But I did take out Queer and I did put in The Room Next Door. I do feel like this will probably get at least 2 acting nominations. Then you got maybe screenplay and a few other things, maybe score. So I think this is a pretty big contender. It seems people are confused about whether Julianne Moore or Tilda Swinton is the lead, who's supporting. Tilda Swinton from the Venice release is first billed, so I'd guess maybe she's lead, but I'd imagine maybe it's closer to a two-hander kind of thing, so they'll have to pick who's lead and who's supporting. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Almodovar is and I apologize if I butchered his last name, is a really, veneered filmmaker. And I think that this could, given it's his first time in the English language, I believe. I feel
feature.
Yeah, I feel that this could be. He could see a lot of the same success that Guillermo del Toro did when he did Shape of Water. Not his first time in the English language, but I think that following, people knew Pan's Labyrinth and knew that that film had a big Oscar profile. I believe it won the Best Foreign Language Oscar.
I don't think it. I think I remember it did not win.
Did not win
for some reason,
and I think it got nominations outside of its category. So it had a big platform. And I bet you if the voting happened today, the same way they say Brokeback Mountain, if they did it again, probably would have won. I think that's it's had quite the legacy. That's how I backpedal that one. But I think that it could be the same thing. People obviously saw Parallel Mothers. That was a big save by the Academy to get Penelope Cruz into the category. And I guarantee you, she probably was the number 2 in that.
She definitely was
behind Jessica Chastain. And then also we've seen Antonio Banderas in what was, I believe, the most competitive Best Actor race of the last maybe 10 years in 2019. When you people like Taron Egerton winning the Golden Globe, getting a SAG nomination, doesn't get in at the Oscars. You had people like Christian Bale not get in for Ford v Ferrari, a Best Picture contender and a massive movie star who had won an Oscar, who was nominated the year before. He was knocking Eddie Murphy, and Dolomite is so many people that Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems in place for Antonio Banderas in Pain and Glory, which was a somewhat autobiographical story for Almodovar. So I definitely think that this movie with this cast could do very well. And it's just a question of how it really debuts. What's its first impression like on the awards campaign stage?
And we've got Trois Amis, Vermiglio, and Youth as all our competition films. Now that we've seen all the competition, Anthony, what is winning the Golden Lion at this year's Venice Film Festival?
I hate this game.
It's because it's so stupid. How are we going to know?
I've taken a decade to become an expert in Oscardom, and even then,
no one's good at it.
I had an awful, horrendous this last Oscar ceremony. Frankly, because as we said, I didn't expect them to make as good of a choices as they did. Thank you, Best Sound, interest.
Oh my God, yeah.
But so I could make a guess. What do you think?
Who are their recent winners? Who was it last year? I forget who it was last year at the Venice Film Festival.
Was it
Poor Things that won the Golden Lion?
Poor Thing.
Let me pull it up.
I just pulled it up.
Oh, okay. Poor Things won last year.
The year before was All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. The year before, Happening. Then Nomadland, Joker, Roma, The Shape of Water. And then before that, a lot of other smaller films. So it seems that 2017 was a new leaf, maybe a new voting body. So they seem to go with very popular titles. So maybe something like a Queer, maybe something, if they really love Maria.
They're not going to do Joker again.
Listen, never say never. They gave it to Happening, so I could see maybe Baby Girl if that really surprises people. Or it could be one of the many films that we don't know about, and they want to boost its attention. I think that's what's so great about. Once you get on this list, I do feel that it's I have faith that everybody sees the movies that votes when it comes to these sort of top film festivals, Venice, and Cannes. I just think they hold themselves to that standard, and so I trust that they're going to find what they believe deserves this attention.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna just for fun say The Room Next Door will win the Golden Lion because I'm pretty sure Pedro Almodovar has only received a lifetime achievement Golden Lion, and he maybe has not won one competitively. So that's what I'll go with, because who knows? And I guess Best Actress will be Maria, and Best Actor will be Daniel Craig. We've done it. Okay, and then I don't think the only thing out of competition worth mentioning, I guess, is probably Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is premiering here. Interestingly enough. I think that's pretty. Oh, and Wolves, the George Clooney, I think Brad Pitt, John Watts action spy thing, is also debuting here. A new Harmony Korine movie for some reason out of competition. But yeah, I don't think Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is going to be our next Top Gun Maverick legacy sequel into Best Picture. We'll probably get like makeup and a few other things, but I don't think that's a huge contender. I don't think Michael Keaton is getting nominated, unlike some folks. So I think we're done with the Venice Film Festival.
Yes.
And we can move on now to the Toronto International Film Festival. We can change our background to make it more TIFF. You can't really see the TIFF logo because we're blocking it, but you can see a little bit on the bottom.
Oh, International Film Festival.
Internet. Oh, yeah, it's just the O. Yes, so they have announced their galas. We pretty much know most of their lineup, so we're going to be talking about it. We got Andrea Bocelli, because I believe is the UK world premiere here. Better Man. Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight. I'm not sure what that is. Eden by Ron Howard is the USA premiere of that film, I believe, with Sydney Sweeney, Ana de Armas, a few other people. Do you think that's going to be an Oscar contender, Ron Howard?
I mean, listen, he is. Apollo 13 was the first film, I believe, to win the SAG Ensemble Award. Beautiful Mind won Best Picture. He is a beloved figure going back to the days of the Andy Griffith Show and The Music Man. I don't think you can count him out. And he,
no distribution.
I think he got a lot more fans in the last week because some people might have checked out a movie that he made that I don't think they saw originally.
I don't think those are the fans you want, though.
And I don't think they're the fans voting on TIFF boards. So we don't know.
No.
You never know. And we'll just see. I'm glad that Sydney Sweeney's in this. Yes.
Sydney Sweeney, Vanessa Kirby, I think Ana de Armas, Jude Law, a few other
great
people.
cast. I'm glad that Sydney Sweeney is getting a movie career because apparently that upsets somebody in particular. And when his cast has movie careers, and I will leave it at that.
Yeah, for some reason. It's pretty much about a group of people who leave society and civilization to travel to the Galapagos Island and find the meaning of life. So I don't know. We'll see if someone big picks it up for distribution.
Robert Zemeckis told me you can find the meaning of life staying in exactly the same place. So
in the same spot. Yeah, they'll be competing against each other for finding the meaning of life. We'll see who truly finds it. Yes. Oh, also worth it. I might be going to TIFF this year, so maybe I can report back to you all on how Eden is. So we'll see. It's a sales title, as it says. Elton John, Never Too Late. That seems like probably a documentary thing. Harbin, Meet the Barbarians.
Given that we already had Rocket Man, I feel like if they're doing another biopic,
another one, I think we would have heard. Is it a sequel? They kind of covered everything.
No, they did not. They did not cover everything. We didn't get to Lion King. We didn't get to his marriage, his kids. There's a lot. Rocket Man 2. Put it in my veins.
Maybe he can wait for the sequel, like Joker. Canada, which came out, premiered at Cannes, got reviews. Still looking, as it says, for a distributor. So we'll see. I don't think that's a huge contender thing. We've got Road Diary. Superboys of Melagon.
Also, real quick, because David Gordon Green's film Nutcrackers is in contention. Yeah. Is this his first non-horror film, non-studio film since Stronger? With Jake Gyllenhaal and Tatiana Maslany?
Probably, because then he got stuck in the Halloween world, right?
It took 3 Halloweens and 1 Exorcist. So this could be a return to form we'll see.
I don't know how. Yeah, hopefully.
I don't remember being a big fan of Stronger. I remember liking Tatiana Maslany in the role.
Yeah.
But so we'll see. It's just interesting to see when a filmmaker has spent a better part of a decade, making one sort of movie, and then we go back. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. It's apparently a comedy in the most unlikely of places. Four siblings find a loving shelter in unexpected turn of circumstances. This enduring comedy drama draws inspiration from actual events. Starring Linda Cardellini, Ben Stiller. I imagine those are your two leads. So interesting. We'll have to see.
Given that they won't tell us the plot, scares
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
They say in a place you've never seen before twice. It's like
Completely unique.
we haven't. We've seen it. We've seen it before already in that sentence.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Not super high expectations for that, but who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us. Let's see. We The Deb, The Friend. The
Wait,
Penguin
Rebel
Lessons.
Wilson directorial debut.
What was that? Oh yeah.
No, I'm. This is great to see.
Yeah, I didn't know about this, so I'll be looking forward to it.
Unless it's somebody else named Rebel Wilson from Australia, so
maybe I think she's kind of got that locked down, though. I think that's all her.
Yeah,
I don't think
like when people have like their own names. There aren't like 50 of them roaming around.
Yeah, like a Jack Murphy.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
As I said it, I was like, I can't say that joke.
No, I can say it. Yeah, very unique. The Penguin Lessons, The Return.
Hey, to be fair, Oscar Film Forecast is your Twitter handle, and that is
yeah, that's unique. That's unique. No one else is legally named that. I hope. That's what I'll name my child. I got The Shrouds by David Cronenberg. Got mixed reviews at Cannes. It's North American premiere there. Wild Robot world premiere here for that animated movie. Got a second trailer to it. I thought this could maybe win animated feature, but that second trailer kind of made me think, I don't know. It's because I didn't think the animals were going to talk, but the animals do talk, and now it seems more like a pretty not kind of standard animated film. I'm sure it'll be good, but I thought it was maybe going to be a little more artistic, silent film, Wall-E-esque instead of talking animals. So it'll probably be nominated. I don't know. If
DreamWorks, right? Is this DreamWorks?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Yes. I think. Yes. I'm gonna say yes.
No offense, DreamWorks, but
when was the last time they won? Have they ever won? They won for Shrek.
Won the first one. They won with Shrek.
Yeah, the one with Shrek.
I'm trying to think if
I don't think they've won since then.
They
didn't do Rango, did they?
So I was just asking myself the same question. I do not think they did Rango.
I think they've only got one.
I forget. I don't think they did Wallace and Gromit because I know sometimes DreamWorks and Aardman would together. But yeah, they might have only won the one time. Tell us in the comments. But yeah, I remember Jeffrey Katzenberg came to my school and he said that the mission statement of DreamWorks was that if Disney is there's a kid in every adult, he said that there's an adult in every kid, and that's DreamWorks.
Okay, yeah.
So listen, it obviously has worked for them to varying degrees. I mean, they have been bought by another studio, and I think are the second animation studio in that place now behind Nation. But I'm excited to see an original animated story. I don't think it'll challenge Inside Out 2. I think that movie's just proven at the box office critically. It's unstoppable. It's beloved. But listen, it has Lupita Nyong'o in it, so I will be supporting.
Me as well. We got Unstoppable, and we got Will and Harper by Josh Greenbaum. Not a ton there. A few there that I recognized. Special presentation. We've got 40 Acres, All of You. All We Imagine as Light is hitting some festivals after premiering at Cannes, so I think that's a good sign for both that and Seed of the Sacred Fig. You won't see on this list, but it does have a ghost TIFF page, so it seems like it'll probably be at TIFF. So that's good for both of those films, keeping some buzz going because they both did okay at Cannes, but there's especially Seed of the Sacred Fig since it like won a special prize, but not anything big, and it's like Neon's big push is obviously going to be in Nora. All We Imagine as Light. Neither of them will probably end up being picked as their country's international submission, but we don't know that yet. We'll have to see. So it's good to keep some buzz going for them at the fall festivals instead of just disappearing. So we'll have to see. We still don't really have, besides Amelia Perez, like international contender. I think maybe it'll just end up being Amelia Perez this year. So, but if there were other ones to look out for, it would be this or Seed of the Sacred Fig, I'd say. Speaking of which, Honora, we've already got plenty of reviews for it. It won the Palme d'Or. I doubt it'll probably actually place in the TIFF top 3 audience award, if I were to guess. I think it'll be, depends on a lot of that depends on how many screenings there are for the film. So maybe if there's enough screenings for it, it'll premiere. It'll end up in the top 3. Bird by Andrew Arnold, once again, already got reviews for that. Bring Them Down, Can I Get a Witness, Carnival is Over, Caught by the Tides. Talk about this. Conclave, I believe this is its, as it says here, it's USA/UK international premiere. It's probably going to end up going to Telluride, and then TIFF, and then maybe NYFF, but it's not going to Venice, as lots of people expected. I mean, it takes place close to Venice, but it's not premiering at Venice. So yeah, we also got a trailer for this recently. Speaking of trailers, it looks good. I feel pretty good about this being a contender. I think it'll be a good mix of the kind of stuff that Academy voters like and will go for. So I feel pretty good about Conclave premiering here. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good place as any to start that film. I think it helps when you're the follow-up film to an Oscar-winning previous predecessor.
Yeah.
So all eyes are on it. Great cast. I mean, it's already. I sometimes I can get a good sense of this from my family. You know what they see the TV spots of. I remember my grandmother was very like, "What is that quirky? It looks very strange and very cool." And I was like, "That's poor things. You can't see that."
Yeah, no, that's not for you.
No, she can't. She could have, but I don't think she would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I, for one, was not going to sit with her and watch it.
No.
My line. But my mom has already been talking about Conclave. That's already gotten on her
Yeah.
way. So I think that, the cast is going to help. And I think given the other contenders, a lot of them have already played, that this making it because it is an international premiere, I think that does help it. And I think people are going to be very interested in the film. They're going to want to see Edward Berger prove himself away from the well-known material that is All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, for sure. And I think now that I'm a little lower on Queer, I think Best Actress may be more of a Coleman Domingo versus Ray Fiennes battle. And I do think Sing Sing, it's only in 4 theaters right now, but its rollout so far, not a ton of buzz for it. We'll have to see as it continues to hit more theaters, but it's not like, even compared to Past Lives last year, the other A24 limited release during the summer, I'm not hearing about it as much as I was hearing about that, but we'll have to see as it hit more theaters how the buzz continues for that. So I think it could definitely be down between Ray Fiennes. I could see Ray Fiennes winning for this. I mean, he's nominated before, never won, so possibly. He seems very conflicted in the film, and like he'll have some juicy bits. Emilia Perez, talked about it. It already hit Cannes. So yeah, I think this is Netflix's big push. Feel pretty good about that. Hard Truths, this is interesting. Bleecker Street, this is the world premiere for it. Mike Lee starring Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Mike Lee doesn't really miss from what I can remember. I don't think he's had anything terrible, so I'm sure it'll be good. Once again, it is Bleecker Street, so it's probably like either just a screenplay or maybe actress contender. I don't know if it'll end up in picture. Might be a little too small for that. But yeah, I'm going to keep my eyes on this because it's the world premiere. Big deal for that one. Harvest, Heretic. I've heard some interesting stuff about Heretic that I'm not quite sure. I believe apparently there are some potential acting contenders in it, but who knows? We'll have to see. I'm Still Here, I the Executioner, K-Pops, Love in the Big City, Millers in Marriage, Misericordia, and we can talk about, I guess this is where we can talk about Night Bitch, the world premiere. Usually what ends up winning the TIFF Audience Award is a world premiere of some sorts. So you have to look at like this, Wild Robot. I don't know if either of these will end up winning the Audience Award, but yeah, I mean the images came out for it. I would say the cinematography leaves some stuff to be desired, but I guess you can't completely judge a book by its cover, so you can't judge it completely by. There have been plenty of movies that have gotten in and done well at the Oscars with pretty bland and bad cinematography, so that doesn't completely throw it back. But I will say, it made me lose a little confidence in it. I'm not, because Mariel Heller's previous films, they didn't have like amazing cinematography, but they looked a little better than this does. But I still think that this is a potential contender, definitely for actress. We'll have to see. I'm not sure if it's a picture contender at this point, but if it ends up like being the #1 audience award winner, then who knows, it could be. But yeah,
I think I've alluded to this in the past, but like there's weird and then there's weird with a capital W. I think Poor Things, Everything Everywhere All at Once, these are movies that at their heart have a lot of heart. And
Mhm.
I'm not suggesting that Night Bitch doesn't. Nobody's seen it. We don't know.
I
But
think it will.
I feel like what's weird about those other two films that did well at the Oscars was that it was the aesthetic. It wasn't thematic. And I think
Mhm.
that could be where we run into an issue, because if people can't relate emotionally to this story on a mass scale, then we could be running into it. And the other thing that Poor Things and Everything Everywhere had going in their favor is the artistic, prowess of a strong production design, costume design. You could visually see the artistry on display, even
Yeah.
though it was weird. And that's what I think this film is going to lack, because it's going to just put everything onto whether you get into the mindset of the main character. And if Amy
Yeah.
Adams is transcendent, then it'll be fine. But I think visually, the fact that you were looking at things that you've never seen before on film helped the weirdness of those two movies, and it won't be helping this one from what we know. Maybe there's a whole other side of this thing that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
From those first images, it seems that they're really putting everything on the script, the directing and the acting, which granted is not that should be what you put all your power in.
Those are the most important things, I think.
It also makes you very vulnerable. You don't have
Mhm.
if you look, I guarantee you, and you can do this to anybody, if you look at the movies that you feel were unjustly awarded or nominated, odds are they're more likely going to be films that had those mass elements of visual iconography that got
Mhm.
people, that lured people in first. It's how, because in the end, the script doesn't matter that much. Green Book beat The Favorite for best original screenplay. So, it's more about a look sometimes than the I always say the how of cinema more than the why of cinema.
Mhm. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I think Adams is still probably going to be nominated, but we'll see. We'll see. On Becoming a Guinea Fowl, Piece by Piece, which is the Pharrell Williams Lego biopic. It'll be interesting. I'm not. Do you think that would qualify to be a documentary? Interesting. It would qualify to be animated, but they don't
Potentially,
like Lego movies at the
we'll see.
Oscars. So we'll see.
But
It'll be interesting.
they might like this one. I always thought the problem
Yeah.
is the brand in the title. Lego Batman,
Oh,
Lego
Batman.
movie.
Yeah.
If this is
Yeah.
called, they might forget what it's called. They might forget that it is a Lego movie.
Yeah, that's true. They're so immersed. Yeah, that's an interesting, one of a kind, unique kind of film. So we'll have to see if it's good enough. What it'll do. We got Quisling, The Final Days, Relay, Resball, Riff Raff, Rumors, which was at Cannes with Kate Blanchett, Sharp Corner, Shepherds, Sketch, The Assessment, The Cut, The End. This is the first, I believe, appearance that we have of The End. We talked about it earlier in the year, and we haven't heard much about it. Joshua Oppenheimer. It's about a rich family who causes the end of the world, living in a bunker, I'm pretty sure, and it's a musical as well. Lots of musicals, so that might hurt it, actually, if there's other musicals that they prefer. But yeah, I mean, it's got a good cast. It's got the year of Tilda Swinton, honestly. It's got Tilda Swinton in the lead role. It's got George McKay, Harris Dickinson's lookalike, who I almost said Harris Dickinson, and I believe Michael Shannon in it, as well as Moses Ingram. So I'll keep my eye on it. It's Neon as well. So Neon's got a lot of stuff to handle. I think Anora is definitely their big thing this year. So we'll have to see how it's received and how the tone is. But I could see it potentially being something for sure. This is also worth mentioning. The Fire Inside is by Rachel Morrison, her directorial debut, the cinematographer of a few movies like Black Panther and stuff. Screenplay written by Barry Jenkins, which is a good sign because Barry Jenkins doesn't really write bad screenplays.
And she was the first woman to get nominated for this best cinematography for Mudbound.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm happy that you could say that sentence and it can't be proven wrong in December, because he did not write the script for Mufasa the Lion King.
Yes.
But who knows? Who knows? That there were some shots in that trailer. I was like, all right, I see you, Jenkins. They definitely had a Jenkins touch.
Yeah, some.
The wind going through. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
we'll see. But again, I think a world premiere that I think people are interested in.
Yeah.
She's shooting it herself.
I guess maybe, but maybe not. I don't remember. Actually, I think I looked at it and I don't think she is. I think it's someone else. But yeah, I think, it's Brian Tyree Henry is playing a coach in this. I could see him being she's not. Okay. Yeah.
Somebody named Rena Yang.
Yeah. I think she shot some TV shows, Rena Yang, that I remember looking at. Yeah, I think that this could be Brian Tyree Henry playing a coach could be a supporting actor contender. Ryan Destiny playing a boxer. I think this would kind of be like this year's, if I were to guess, this year's NYAD, a feel-good sports drama that debuts at TIFF. I think this could be this year's NYAD. I mean, MGM moved it from a summer release to a December release. I don't think it'll be anything huge. I think MGM has other priorities like Nickel Boys or other films, maybe even challengers before this. But I could maybe see Brian Tyree Henry, a few other things. There's potential here, is what I'll say, because they like their feel-good sports dramas. People doubted NYAD because it got mid reviews, but it still did better than most people thought. So never doubt those feel-good sports movies. I myself have learned to do that. I'm behind the feel-good sports movies. I don't know if it'll be feel good, but I mean, it's a good story. It's based on real life and it ends pretty well. So, yeah, I think that's worth mentioning. I think that could be potential top 3 TIFF winner. So we'll see. Girl with the Needle got good reviews at Cannes, I'm pretty sure. The Last Showgirl with Pamela Anderson, directed by Gia Coppola.
Every time I see Gia Coppola's name, I confuse her for Sofia Coppola's daughter, who
has the TikTok
about making pasta because she got grounded, and so I just have to check that every time I see that.
Directorial debut. No, I could maybe see this being a thing for Pamela Anderson if Best Actress loses some contenders. Maybe I don't completely believe that, but
I don't mean to compare the ethos of these two individuals, but this feels like the Jeb Bush. We've had Bush number 1, we got Bush number 2. Now we're gonna see if we got Bush number 3.
Interesting here. Life of Chuck by Mike Flanagan made some great TV shows. Also, Dr. Sleep. I liked Dr. Sleep. I forget who. It's got a good cast. It's got like Mark Hamill and a few other people in it. I'm going to keep my eye on this one because I think Mike Flanagan is talented. So I think this could be.
He also, I believe, is a producer on Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckman's new horror from Neon. Got to give some support to our YouTube community. So check that out.
That's a big deal.
Recently, huge deal.
Yeah. I think this also has Tom Hiddleston in it, I believe. So good cast. We got The Order, as we mentioned, as well for Venice. Here we've got The Piano Lesson. Will be interesting. Directed by Malcolm Washington, Denzel's son, also starring John David, Samuel L. Jackson, and Daniel Deadwyler. I maintain that this is more of an acting contender than a picture contender, but who knows? We'll have to see how it does. It's the international premiere for it. Netflix. I think Amelia Perez is their big push, so I'm not sure. I think this will be kind of like a NYAD, probably get Netflix's number 2 treatment, get acting nominations, but not picture. That's what I would say there. We Live in Time, the world premiere of that Florence Pugh, Andrew Garfield romance by John Crowley. I don't know. John Crowley's made some good movies. He also did The Goldfinch. So mixed bag. We'll have to see how this ends up being. The trailer looked pretty good, I'd say. It didn't look like anything too crazy. I got it right all the way back in when we did our first predictions, and I guessed that Florence Pugh's character would get sick. I got it right. Some of these movies are a little too predictable based off their synopsises. It'll probably be Andrew Garfield ends up dying in the end if I were to do another prediction.
Will he be in the Twin Towers and they'll pull out to reveal like the Robert Pattinson movie Remember Me?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't think they're gonna do that. No.
Or is she a variant of Gwen Stacy and this is actually an MCU?
No.
Who knows?
No. Or was he dead the whole time after he got hit by the car and it was just a dream?
When did he get hit by a car?
It's the start of the trailer.
Oh,
did you watch the trailer?
No.
Oh, okay.
I try not to watch trailers. I watch the trailers that I know I'm going to be bludgeoned with for the next 4 months. Like Joker, I'm just going to see too many movies where it will show up. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine showed up in front of Poor Things. So, like, there's some trailers that are just inevitable. Yeah. I didn't watch the most recent Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, and I don't watch television trailers. So, We Live in Time is a movie that I feel like I'm not going to be, just hit with all the time. But I can try and go in blind, as I would prefer to do. I think trailers sometimes, they show you certain scenes, and especially if it's a bad trailer, then certain things are going to happen based on the trailer. You just can't. You can't.
Yeah. Well, now he gets hit by a car.
I want the first impression of the film to be the film. Is my my wonderful
that's
world.
Fair.
But it's hard when you have a show on YouTube. Then you're kind of required to see some of these.
Yeah. I don't know how big of a contender this will be, so I think you'll probably be safe in waiting until you see the film. but yeah, I could maybe see an acting prospect maybe coming out of it, but I don't know. Actress is crowded. Maybe Andrew. We'll have to see. One Up the Hill we've got Without Blood, as I mentioned before, Angelina Jolie, another directorial effort from her here. USA/Italy world premiere. Yeah, I don't know. I think this may just help boost her for Maria more so than being an individual contender. But I look forward to seeing it. I think I forget what that first film she did was a few years ago, the same year of 2017. But I remember liking it. I don't remember much about it, to be honest, but I remember liking it. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see another directorial effort from her. And then we've got Young Werther to end all of that for the TIFF. What are your predictions for the top 3 audience awards winners at the TIFF Film Festival?
Well, listen, TIFF Audience Award will be very indicative. Jojo Rabbit won, Green Book won. That kind of shows you the range that we're dealing with, I feel. I believe American Fiction won this last year. That's her most recent predecessor.
I believe so, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, theoretically, anything could. I would probably say that it's probably going to be something that you already know of, like you're not being introduced to it on this list that you've heard of before. That's just my gut feeling. If you want to scroll back up to the top, just give a little more.
I imagine, if I were to guess, I would probably say, I don't know if it'll be number 1. I imagine Conclave will place in the top 3. If I were to guess.
Yeah.
Nora, maybe if Nora has enough screenings, I think it'll place in the top 3, but I do think it might not have enough screenings to do so.
And I think Amelia Perez could really surprise people. I think it has the star power of something that really attracts, I think, the TIFF audience, but at the same time, I think it does have the independent, Tony perspectives that makes film festival audiences really excited and jazzed. So I think that will definitely. I'll put my money that will place in the top 3. But so we'll see.
Yeah, and I think Fire Inside has potential to be. Sometimes they go for feel good movies, to play somewhere in that top 3. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think for the Toronto Film Festival. I think just quickly also worth mentioning, the New York Film Festival announced their opening film. It will be Nickel Boys. By Ramel Ross. Because I've started dropping some films for my Best Picture, I've put more faith into this one being a contender. I feel like it could. When I look at movies that could win Best Picture, this is one of the few that it might not even end up being anything, but this is one of the few that I think could potentially do it. Just the synopsis, the story of it. I remember reading the book for a class a while ago. It's dark, but I could see. I don't know. I could see it working out it's Ramel Ross's directorial debut or feature film directorial debut. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I think it could maybe end up being a package of winning supporting actress for Ingenue Ellis Taylor, screenplay, and then picture. Kind of like lots of films have recently, like Green Book, like what are the other ones? Coda, Moonlight, all of those films that have done so. So yeah. Well, Moonlight didn't win screenplay, but yeah. Wait, yes, it did. Never mind. Yeah. Any final thoughts on all of these festival stuff?
No, I mean, I think we've hit everything.
I think we covered a lot. Yeah.
I'm excited to see these movies.
Yeah, me as well. And I think I'll probably end up going to the one right behind us. You can now see that it's the Toronto. It's not the Film Festival. It's the Toronto International Film Festival. And we'll see how many movies I get to see. I have no clue how the festival goes. My only experience is NYFF, which I probably won't go to this year. I guess I'm trading sides. So yeah, I'll probably see some of the movies, give some reviews, all that fun stuff. Get some early word on Night Bitch, which doesn't come out until December. You'll have me having seen it, and if it's good, I'll let you know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Comment your thoughts on all of these film festival debuts down below. Who do you think is winning the Golden Lion? Who do you think is winning the TIFF top 3? When it comes, probably like late August, when it comes close to these festivals and we know a little more, I'm sure we can maybe give more serious predictions on that. But there are a lot of these movies that we just discovered today because they were announced for the festival. So lots of learning about new films to occur over the next few weeks, months, years. So yeah, Thank you. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the video after this.
Bye-bye.